Hello. All right, so let's get started. We're just going to jump right into it. We are going to be talking about unit rates today, but then we're going to make it fractions. So let's first talk about unit rates. So a rate is a comparison of two different units. So an example of that is 60 miles for 2 hours, $21 for 3 basketballs. Anytime there's two different units, then that's going to be a rate. We're going to be specifically talking about unit rates, which is a rate with the second number being 1. So we said that a rate is a comparison of two units, and this time it's going to be 1. So 30 miles per hour, $7 per basketball, $70 per ticket. Every time that I'm doing two different units and the second one is 1, it's a unit rate. So 1 unit. We're going to go into Miss Ru is super slow, which she is, and walks 10 blocks in 5 hours. How many blocks does she walk in 1 hour? So this is a basic unit rate question, 5th or 6th grade, just a simple review. So I'm going to write the numbers with the units, and order matters. I'm going to look in the question. The question says 10 blocks in 5 hours. So how many blocks does she walk in 1 hour? So I'm thinking blocks is going to come first, hours come second. Order matters. Then I'm just going to divide. That's it. So please make sure you remember that the fraction bar means to divide. So when I am dividing, I'm going to be using a fraction bar every time. You're not going to see that old school division symbol. That was so elementary school. We are officially in secondary math and the bar. That's where we are. So I put the blocks on top again because order matters. So I have 10 blocks, 5 hours. So that's going to be 2 blocks per hour. That's it. We did it. Unit rate. So I think I get it, right? So now Mr. is about to make it harder though. So we're about to make it fractions. So don't get freaked out because it's a fraction. It's going to be the exact same steps. We're going to write the numbers with the units, and the order still matters. And then we're going to divide. Now keep in mind when I'm dividing fractions, because I just said I'm going to make it fractions, I'm going to be multiplying by the reciprocal, which again, something we've heard about. I keep this first number the same. I change the division sign to multiplication, and then I do the reciprocal, which means I flip. Now, Miss Ru, again, is going to do something a little different, and she's going to be talking about outer versus inner. It'll make more sense in a second, but just keep that in mind. That's going to be the overarching thing, outer versus inner. We have a new question. Hiccup is running. He's running a half a mile in a quarter hour. How many miles does he travel in 1 hour? So again, order matters. I'm going to write the numbers. It says miles in hour. Miles in hour. I always recommend taking an extra 20, 30 seconds to reread the question. So Hiccup is running half a mile in a quarter hour. How many miles does he travel in 1 hour? So I'm going to put the half a mile on top because it says miles in 1 hour. And then I'm going to put my fraction bar, which we said means divide. And I'm going to put a quarter of an hour. So here's where my outer and inner comes in. I'm going to multiply the outer numbers and put them over the inner numbers. So that looks like 1 times 4 over 2 times 1. So we talked about it. It's that reciprocal. I'm doing the same thing. 1/2, changing the division to multiplying, and then I'm flipping it. Instead of having to do all that, I just do some arrows. So then that's going to give me 4 over 2, which is just 2 miles per hour. We're going to do a couple more examples, but it's going to be outer over inner is going to be the thing that I'm going to say every single time. So still unit rates, still fractions. We're still going to write the number in order. We're still going to divide, and we're going to keep talking about outer over inner. It took Rough Nut 2 hours to knit a third of a scarf. How long will it take to knit 1 scarf? So again, I am looking and reading the question again, how long will it take to knit one scarf? So I have the time on the top and the scarf on the bottom because I want to make one scarf. Now it's 2 hours, and I hope that everyone remembers to get a fraction to get a whole number to become a fraction, we put it over 1. Okay, over 1. Because if we think a fraction bar means division, 2 divided by 1 is just plain old 2. So I'm going to put 2 over 1 in the top. I'm going to then put 1/3 at the bottom, and I'm going to go back to my outer versus my inner. So I'm going to have 2 times 3, which is 6. And then I'm going to have my 1 times 1. So my answer is going to be 6 over 1, which is just plain old 6 hours to knit one scarf. I hear it does take pretty long, so that's probably a real representation. I wouldn't know. This is our last and final example. I'm going to still write the numbers in order, still going to divide, still going to talk about how my division of fractions is outer over inner. So fish legs mows 1/6 acre in 2/5 hour. How many acres will he mow in 1 hour? So again, how many acres will he mow in 1 hour? Now I stress the order because sometimes they'll put it in the question differently, like fish leg mows for 2/5 of an hour and mows 1/6 acre. How many acres will he mow in 1 hour? Pay attention to the question part. So don't mind my 2 question marks because that's wrong, grammatically incorrect. But how many acres will he mow in 1 hour? So again, I'm going to put my 6, oops, you see, mistakes. That's supposed to be acre at the top, and this is supposed to be hour at the bottom. And Mr. Rue mixed up all her things. But the numbers are still correct. I'm going to have 1 over 5 and 6. Well, 1 times 5, and then my 6 times 2, which is just going to give me 5 over 12, and that is my final answer of 5/12 acres per hour. See, I fixed it in the end, but I messed it up in the middle, so make sure that you correct that. So that is our last example. Please make sure that you remember you can always rewind, pause, go back, and write these things down. It does help. We're going to end with speed is calculated as miles per hour, but life is calculated as miles per hour. So increase your smile, get extra mileage in life. And that's just for our unit rates because that's what we're talking about today. I do hope it helped. Have a good rest of your math time.